winner of the New Jersey Press Association's Most Innovative Award.
Welcome back to Greater Media Broadcast News. I'm Susie Shea, bringing you the top headlines in Central New Jersey. Here's what's going on in your neighborhood. Christie addresses park testing, rebuilding a school, a birthday book, dressing our vets, and the Teen Arts Festival. When it comes to the controversy surrounding the park testing that's taking place in New Jersey schools, Governor Chris Christie says students should take the test and parents should wait and see how it goes. Several parents who attended his recent town hall meeting in Freehold had wanted to know what he thought about the test, which is being given to students in grades 3 through 11. Many parents had their children opt out over concerns about its format and the amount of time being spent on preparation and testing. But Christie said it is important to assess students' knowledge and that he would reserve judgment about the effectiveness of the test. However, not all were pleased with the governor's stance, with one local resident insisting that it's a roundabout way of saying, we'll figure it out later. For more on Christie's visit to Freehold and his view on the park test, see this week's editions of Greater Media newspapers. And here's Mark Rosman with more headlines.
Marlboro residents scored a victory this week when the Monmouth County Solid Waste Advisory Council voted not to send an application that proposed the construction of a wood recycling facility to the county freeholders for further consideration. Atlantic Tree Realty sought approval to build a wood recycling center in a land conservation zone on Tennant Road in the Morganville section of Marlboro. Residents have been objecting to the company's proposal for more than 2 years. They asserted that a recycling center would cause health, noise, and traffic issues, and they expressed concern with the site's proximity to a school. Thousands of tons of tree trunks and tree limbs would have been processed into wood chips at the facility each day, according to the company's application. Marlboro Mayor Jonathan Hornick said he was pleased with the Solid Waste Advisory Council's decision and called the proposed location the wrong place for a recycling facility. Atlantic Tree Realty reserves the right to appeal the council's decision. For more about this story, see this week's news transcript.
The face of Sayreville could be changing very soon. Here's Adam Ujago.
According to project manager Brian O'Neill Jr., about 350,000 square feet of retail has already been leased for the first phase of the project, including commitments from Bass Pro Shops, Century 21 department stores, and Regal Cinemas. The Borough Council developed a committee to discuss a potential revenue-sharing model with the Board of Education in the event a payment in lieu of taxes is negotiated. That payment has yet to be decided on. For more on Luxury Point, see the full story in this week's Suburban newspaper.
And here are the headlines you need to know. If all goes as planned, the students of James Monroe Elementary School in Edison will be in a new school building in September 2016. Voters approved an $18 million referendum to fund the construction of the facility after it was destroyed by a fire last March. And right next door to Edison, the Metuchen Golf and Country Club is celebrating its 100th anniversary. Its rich history includes playing host to John Ciardi, an award-winning figure in the literary community, known for his translation of Dante's The Inferno. And even Thomas Edison has ties to the area, where he ran his first trial of the electric railway in 1880. The public comment period regarding a proposed liquefied natural gas facility has come to a close, and the responses are mixed. Many residents and environmental advocacy groups expressed concerns about the proposed Liberty natural gas port, but others, such as various businesses and chambers of commerce, supported the measure because of reduced natural gas costs and potential job creation. Military veterans transitioning back into civilian life are often in need of a suitable wardrobe for the workplace. Dress Our Vets has been launched in an effort to meet this need and gather local support. Donations of suits can be dropped off at Senator Jennifer Beck's office in Red Bank and Assemblywoman Mary Pat Angelini's office in Ocean Township. And now we have Mike Pavlichko of Greater Media's WCTC with an update on Rutgers basketball. After that, we have Tim Morris with more on the local sports scene.
Well, the Rutgers women's basketball season has come to an end with a 36-point loss to old Big East arch rival UConn. And for a single team, that would be an unusual blowout loss, but not when you're playing UConn this year. They have beaten their opponents by an average 42 points this year. Average 42 points. Some have been more. Rutgers lost by 36, 91-55 in the second round of the NCAA tournament. So what that means is Rutgers is on par with just about every other team in this country. They're a good ball club. They've been in the top 25 most of this season, proof the NCAA did them at least a disservice, we'll call it very politely, by putting them in a bracket with UConn, giving them an 8 seed, what they couldn't get a 7, and making them potentially face UConn as they did on UConn's home floor. A top 25 team deserves better, but I digress. Against almost anyone else in a neutral environment, maybe Rutgers is playing this coming weekend, but 23-10 still highly respectable for an RU ball club that played its first year in the Big Ten Conference, a tough league, RU holding its own, and then with the likes of Kalia Copper, Rachel Holloway, Tyler Scaife, a solid core coming back for next season, things are only looking up for C. Vivian Stringer and company. I'm Mike Pavlichko on 1450 WCTC and WCTCAM.com, and while basketball's done, spring football practice starts on Monday. Yes, we're already there, and I'll be back with a recap next week.
The NJSIAA Tournament of Champions basketball tournament isn't by invitation. You have to be a state champion to compete in the season-ending tournament, and in our area, the girls' teams from St. John Vianney and Middletown South fit the bill. SJV is no stranger to the tournament with a record 6 wins. Middletown South was making its debut.
This year's SJV team was similar to past Lancer squads. Led by number 20, Kelly Campbell, the Lancers shared the ball on offense, getting everybody involved, moving the ball around to create open opportunities for their teammates. Here it leads to Kimmy Evans getting an inside shot. The Lancers could also score from the outside as Kelly Crouch nails his three-pointer. Gabriela Caponegro, number 25, takes it to the basket aggressively. Her basket allowed the Lancers to set up in their vaunted full-court press, used to create turnovers that they turned into quick points, breaking games open. The Lancers rode this style all the way to the TOC semifinals. Middletown South, led by number 12 Stephanie Cars, won its first Group 3 state championship this year and made their TOC debut, where they fell to Franklin, the Group 4 state champion. Nevertheless, it was the school's finest season. This is Tim Morris for Greater Media Newspapers.
Middlesex County College turns 50 this year, and not surprisingly, they're celebrating with a book release. Here's Taylor Lear.
In celebration of their 50th anniversary, 3 alumni of Middlesex County College in Edison Township have worked together to compile a book that celebrates the college's rich history. A former MCC student, Kim Silva Martinez, wrote the book titled Endless Possibilities, while Damian Gonzalez, who now serves as the graphic service coordinator at MCC, coordinated the art and color scheme for the book, and Nicole Lazar, current MCC student, took and edited photos of the college's landscape. The book features several interviews and personal stories of faculty and staff dating back to 1964 up until now. The book will be made available next month at the Blue Colt bookstore on the Edison campus. For more information about the MCC book, read this week's Edison Sentinel.
Brevity is a part of life, and this should be represented in art. At least that's what some local art students think. Here's Jeremy Grossman on the Monmouth Teen Arts Festival.
Art isn't always meant to be permanent. Sometimes the most lasting works are gone almost as soon as they're created. The idea of spontaneity as it relates to art ran throughout the 2015 Monmouth Teen Arts Festival, held March 19th and March 20th at Brookdale Community College. Nearly 1,500 teenagers from throughout Monmouth County were invited to celebrate different forms of art, including dance, music, theater, creative writing, visual arts, and film. This year's theme, Art of the Street, encouraged students to embrace art that is immediate and in the now. In one workshop, student groups used spray paint, acrylics, and paint markers to design canvases that are eventually put together to form one overlapping canvas. Although students risked having their design covered up by other canvases, many of them admitted that it was simply part of the artistic process. In another workshop, students explored found art by going through garbage, like bottle caps or coffee cups or magazine clippings, and created found objects. For many of these students, they have no art classes at school, which is why they said that it's important to have a festival like this. To learn more about this year's Teen Arts Festival, visit gmnews.com.
For more in-depth coverage and additional stories, see your Greater Media newspaper today. Catch up with the latest headlines by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/Greater Media Broadcast News or following us on Twitter at GMedia News. I'm Susie Shia. Thanks for tuning in.